Welcome to my channel. My name's Jared. This is another Sunday update video. I also post silent build videos on Fridays and sometimes on Wednesdays, so check those out as well. Today, we're talking about the Land Cruiser, the Beetle, and a little bit about the Nissan. So, for the Land Cruiser, the last video that I updated, my silent build video for this last Friday, was me getting the pistons back in the engine and getting the oil pump on it and the oil pan and this front cover. So since then, as you can see, I got the engine back on the frame. I always felt like this engine was a little bit heavy for the engine stand, so I didn't want to put the head on it until I got it back on the frame just to be safe. But so I'm expecting things to kind of go pretty quickly from here. I've got to get that head back on there. Of course, I'll make sure there are no razor blades stuck to the bottom of it this time. But I got to get the head on and then get the intake back on it and then get it all hooked up and hopefully get it running pretty quickly. Now, for those of you that have been following this project for a while, you would know that I had this engine in before and it ran really good until I discovered the razor blade was stuck under the head, and there was also some scratches in the cylinder. But so the point is, I've already assembled it once. I already got it running. So all of that stuff is pretty much ready to go back on, and it should go pretty quickly from here. So hopefully this will be running in, if not the next video, then 2 videos from now, build videos. But hopefully in the next build video, this thing's gonna be running again. And then we'll be back on the body, getting it prepped for paint. I've got some exciting stuff that I'm gonna try out for that. But okay, so that's the Land Cruiser. Real quick, I'll touch on the Nissan, the Bushmaster, while I'm in here. This is an oil pan that I bought that I hoped would work. I got this one on eBay, and it was listed for a slightly later model truck, but I messaged the person and I asked them if they thought it would fit, and they said they were like 90% sure it would fit, but of course it didn't. That didn't work. So that was the oil pan that I'd already ordered. I do have someone on Facebook that I believe has the correct oil pan that I need, and hopefully they're going to be able to get a chance sometime soon to ship that to me. But you know, you never really know. So anyway, I'm still working on getting the oil pan for the Nissan. The other thing that I'm working on for the Nissan is the back window. So this is the rear plexiglass window that I removed. And so I've got to either make a new one out of plexiglass or try to have one made out of tempered glass. The problem is there's a shock that would have held, this is upside down, but there's a shock that would have held this open when you open it, and there's a hole that needs to be here to support that shock, but I don't know exactly where that hole needs to be because this isn't the original window. Somebody made this one to replace the original one. So I need to, before I can use this as a template, to have something new made like tempered glass, I have to know where that hole is. And there's no way, I mean, this thing's in such bad condition, there's no way I'm going to be able to put a hole over there and install those shocks and figure all that out in advance. So I may have to make another template. Oh, look who it is. Walter! Walter, what's up, buddy? You're a little late today. Good to see you. Good to see you, Walter. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for coming. That's my dog Walter, for anyone who doesn't know. But so I may have to make a template, maybe out of like plywood or something first, figure out where that shock needs to be, make sure everything works as it should, and then I could take that template in and have a piece of tempered glass made to match it. But I don't know, it was like $300 to have the tempered glass made for the side of the Bushmaster, but that's just one solid piece just cut to fit. It's bigger than this, so I don't know if they're charged by the size or by the hours that it takes to make it. Probably the hours. That one didn't have any holes in it. This one is going to have a bunch of holes that are different sizes that need to be in just the right location. So I don't know what the cost is going to be to try to have it made out of tempered glass. If it's too expensive, or if I just can't do it, then I'll just make another one out of plexiglass. But even that's not cheap. I think it's at least $150 or so just for a piece of plexiglass big enough for me to make that out of it. So anyway, that's what's going on with the Nissan. Also, so the Nissan's not here. You may have already noticed. I took it to the storage garage. I have been driving it a little bit since the last video because I did show this last week that I got it back on the road. There are a few things I still need to address. It runs really good, but the front end, some of the bushings in the front end, I'm pretty sure are bad because it was kind of some clunking noises from the front end, and it felt a little bit loose when you hit a bump. Sometimes it kind of steer off in one direction or the other. And then I'm also ordering the stuff for the interior. I've got to put a new headliner in it. I just got a new seal for the front windshield because I've got to take all the windows out when I put the headliner in. Plus the seals around that windshield are all cracked and they leak already, so that's got to be replaced. But so basically, I'm building up some parts that I'm going to need to start working on the interior of it, and then also fix the front end, the bushings, and then also I'm still trying to get that oil pan so that I can put the four-wheel drive back in it. But so that's the Nissan. But so one big change is that the Volkswagen is back. Now that the Nissan is no longer taking up this space, I can start working on other projects. So I've got the Beetle back in here, and like I've been saying for a while, the next step was to pull the engine and fix all the oil leaks. So that's what I'm doing now. I got the engine out yesterday, and I started stripping it down. So you can see it is right here. So basically I took all the tins off of it, and what I'll do, I'll clean this thing top and bottom, get all the oil off that I can. I'll most likely pull the heads so that I can replace all the seals on these push rod tubes, because those are a big source of leaks. And so while I've got the heads off, I'll maybe lap the valves, and we'll see about possibly re-ringing it if I think that that's necessary. But I did run into one issue when I was taking it apart. Let's see if I can find a piece to it. So this is the intake. This thing is just a 1500 single port engine, so very small, you know, not very powerful at all. But so when I was taking this intake off, this piece broke off. You can see there's a piece here. Now all this does, this connects to the muffler, and it brings warm exhaust air through here, which runs that exhaust air near the intake port here. So all it does is it just helps heat the intake air. So in the winter or in cold environments, that would be beneficial. Here in California, it's not really going to make any difference at all. But the other thing that it does is it kind of helps support this whole structure. You can see it should have two attachment points on each side to support it. So anyway, I've ordered a new intake. It's still an original one. It's used, so who knows, it may not be in much better condition. But I'll be careful with this so that hopefully I don't break it. And then I'm going to paint all this stuff, you know, clean it up, paint it, put it all back together, so it's going to look new. Yeah, so that's basically, that's the engine for the Beetle. I've got a few other things coming for it that I'm going to do. I still have the foam to redo the front seats. I'm not sure if I'm going to film that or not, because I've already done one video on doing the seats. I've also started tearing off some of this padded dash, because I've got to get this piece out of here. I've got the original gauge to put back in it, and then I haven't decided if I'm going to put another foam dash on it or not, or just go down to the metal dash. Put in visors, mirrors, lots of little things like that. I replaced all this kind of chrome stripping. I didn't film that because it was just, I was out here, I do a little bit of it at a time while I was out here kind of piddling with other things. But so the Volkswagen is finally back out here and getting some work done to it, and hopefully it'll be on the road soon. Once the engine is cleaned up, resealed, and put back in, then I need to do the brakes before I can drive it. But that's about the only thing preventing it from being drivable. The other issue I've had with this car for a long time now is registering it. I bought this from an online auction, but it was like a charity site. So when I tried to register it, it was similar to registering it from a dealer. So I had to go to the DMV. I couldn't use AAA like I normally do. Anyway, DMV was closed at the time because of the pandemic, but they were doing this thing where you could do everything online. So I submitted all my stuff online. They approved it. I paid the registration fees. They said, okay, everything's fine. Now just mail in the original documents and we'll send you the title. Well, that was 3 months ago. So I mailed in the original documents 3 months ago. They were delivered to them 3 months ago, and then nothing has happened. So now I've been emailing them like crazy. I'm like, oh, it can take 90 days to process. Well, it's been 90 days. They still haven't processed it. So I don't know if they lost the title or not, but now I don't have the physical title anymore. I only have scanned copies. I have already paid for everything, so I should have already got my registration and my title to be able to drive it legally. But who knows? It's all up in the air now. So that's the other kind of reason that I haven't been working on this, is because I can't register it right now, or I can't get the registration that I've already paid for right now. So we'll see. I keep emailing them, and hopefully something will happen soon. I have heard that they're not really cracking down on cars if they're on the street without current registration, because they understand that there's delays at the DMV. So it might be okay to drive it a little bit. And I do have the paperwork showing that I paid the registration fees. I just can't get the actual title or the sticker to go on the license plate. But anyway, that's the other issue I've been having with the Beetle. So yeah, so that's it for the Beetle. That's it for the Nissan. And then that's it for the Land Cruiser. The Honda's still in here, still doing great. I just took it for a drive this morning. It's running great. I've got about 900 miles on it now, I think. I'm also, the list is building, 899 miles. The list is building for the things that I'm gonna do to it at that 1,000-mile inspection. That's when I'm gonna address the steering wheel. I've got an idea on how I'm gonna fix that. I got some new rubber boots for the brakes. I think that brake might be seeping a little bit of brake fluid. I'm not positive. But anyway, I'm going to go back through the brakes, check everything. Of course, pull the engine out, reseal it, put in the throw-out bearing. I've got to get... I bought these reverse lights, which would have been an option at the time, and I got these new old stock ones. They're in great condition. And they're hooked up, but they don't seem to work. I think I had the wrong bulbs in them or something. So I've got to get those working. So I've got a lot of little things that I'm going to fix on it. The alternator, I think I'm going to try to take it in and see if someone can rebuild it. So lots of little stuff. So once I pull the engine out, there's going to be a whole list of small things to do on that. But it runs and drives great. I drive it as it is all the time, and I really enjoy it. So that's enough rambling for this week. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thanks. Bye.